What to text when you miss them, but you don't want to chase. Hi, I'm Coach Abby. Thank you so much for joining me today on Love Advice TV. Love Advice TV is a channel that has been created exclusively for you to assist you in navigating through any relationship challenges you may be facing. So, today we're going to talk about that tricky emotional crossword we all face at some point, and that's missing someone but not wanting to chase them. How do you express what's real without giving away your power? Have you thought about that? So how do we reach out authentically without reopening the same old dynamic? And that's what we're going to master together today. So first, please let me make something very clear. Missing someone doesn't make you weak. It means your heart is still human. Of course you miss them. You love them. You know, we're creatures of habit. The thought of them just makes us, it just pulls at on our heartstrings. But texting from emptiness creates emotional depth. And texting from a grounded honesty is what we're looking for, because that creates connection. The question isn't, should I text them? It's from what energy would I be texting them from? If it's from fear or loneliness, please, right now, pause. Don't text because you're lonely or because you're scared or because you feel that they're going to forget you. No. But if it comes from a place of calm, you can proceed, but consciously and cautiously. Now, that's emotional maturity disguised as restraint. What I mean by that, before you begin typing that text, ask yourself, what exactly do I miss? What do I want to accomplish with this text? Do you miss the person or the feeling they once gave you? Do you miss the connection or confirmation and validation that they gave you? Understanding this distinction saves you from sending the wrong message, because if what you miss is comfort, a text won't bring that back. But what if all of a sudden what you miss is really genuine emotional connection? And we do. Your tone and your timing will determine everything. So before texting, align your energy. It's so important. Those of you that have worked with me, you know how important energy alignment and its relationship to the art of manifestation is to me and should be to you. It starts by breathing. It starts by centering yourself. And basically the purpose of this video is asking yourself, if they never respond, would I still feel at peace at the sense that I reached out? Am I okay with it? Or am I going to go into guilt mode and shame mode? So if the answer is yes, you're okay with it, you're just genuinely reaching out in a very non-confrontational, non-emotional way, then your text is safe to send. If not, it's still a reaction. Remember, your energy is the real message. Words are basically just a delivery system. If you're unsure where your emotional readiness stands, because we need to be able to identify it, allow me to invite you to take the free assessment questionnaire linked below. It's designed to help you identify your true emotional goal, whether you're ready to reconnect, release, or simply communicate from balance, because clarity before contact really prevents chaos after it. So let's talk a bit about the types of texts that hold power. And what I mean by this, there are 3 energy levels of miss you messages. The number 1, emotional honesty. It's softly framed. You can say something to the effect of, hey, so-and-so, you crossed my mind today. Hope you're doing well. It's simple, it's grounded, it's low pressure. Then you also have that playful familiarity. I love to give different ways because I don't know what your communication with your ex was. And it's important to maintain that same persona. You don't want to be all of a sudden somebody completely different where it looks rehearsed. So if you've been playful, you can say something to the effect of, I don't know, this song came back and it just brought back such a funny memory. So what that does, it opens the door emotionally, but it doesn't beg entry. And that's very important. Or you can send a warm detachment type of text. Hey, thought of you. Hope life's treating you kindly. We get this all the time when we don't know what to say. But it does. It shows kindness, and it's not that craving feeling, Each version is heartfelt but self-contained, and that's where the importance lies. It invites connection, not obligation. So go ahead and create your own lighthearted message. Just assure it's not anchored in feelings. Please avoid messages that sound like they are guided by emotions, such as, for Christ's sake, don't say, I can't stop thinking about you. That's a no-no. Or why haven't I heard from you? Or worse yet, and I get this quite a bit after the fact. Happy I sent the I miss you, I miss us text. Please don't do that. Those words pull you out of your power, and they transfer the emotional weight onto them. And most people retreat when they feel emotional responsibility they didn't ask for, because a certain amount of guilt does surface. They know how much you care. They know how much you love them, and they left you, and they know that. So they will just shift away from having to face that or deal with that. You need to keep your text light in tone, but rich in authenticity. Because the more neutral your tone is, the more magnetic your presence is. When your message doesn't chase, it invites. Remember this, opposite of chasing is inviting. It's bringing them closer. Imagine your text almost, I guess, once again, I like to have this similarity with fragrances. I love fragrances, but, a little draws people closer, but too much overwhelms. One sentence is enough. Let curiosity do the rest. There's so much said in silence. So then what follows here is usually, and what happens if they respond? Because most of the time when we're sending a text, we're sort of convinced that they're not going to respond. So what happens if they do respond? Keep your reply balanced. Mirror their tone. Match their energy. Always end on a calm note before the conversation peaks. Don't let it go on and on and on and on when you can sort of bring it to a halt and leave it on a calm note and, I can't wait to catch up later or at another time. So nice catching up. That type of communication, because it leaves the doors open, but not in a clingy way. You're signaling that you're still emotionally available, but you're independent. You're not hungry. That calm rhythm keeps the attraction alive without handing back all the control. So not knowing the backstory, honestly, of your relationship breakup, it's difficult for me to be able to really outline a particular text. But I do need to add that sometimes the best text is no text at all. If your impulse comes from longing or anxiety, just hold your silence for a bit. I know this may sound counterintuitive, but every time you resist the urge to reach out prematurely, you strengthen your emotional boundaries. You do, because you're no longer giving them that openness to you. And they're curious. They want to see what's going on. They want to know how you feel. There's that little sense of, I hope she still misses me, or I hope he still wants me back, that we all sort of crave from our exes. So if you're unsure which message feels right for your situation, once again, please do not hesitate to book a one-on-one session with me. Together we can craft a personalized communication strategy based on your dynamic, your tone, and your emotional readiness. Because the way that I might write something might be flirty, you might write it in a more serious tone, and that can shift everything. You need to think of every text as an electric cord of behind every word, there's a vibration carrying the energy you're transmitting. Texts don't create attraction, energy does. When your message carries self-worth, it lands differently. It says, I'm open, not waiting. It says, I remember, but I'm still moving forward. Now, that subtle blend of honesty and confidence is what reawakens emotional curiosity. It's so important for us to be able to understand that it's not about being overly anxious or available for them. You're no longer chasing, yet you still are receptive. And there is such strength in the quiet confidence of still caring, but not being overwhelming and overburdensome by demonstrating all this love and all this affection. You know, caring quietly is truly one of life's greatest strengths. It means you're big enough to feel and wise enough to stay centered while doing it. It's such an important emotional regulation. I always remember a quote from Bob Marley, and that quote states, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have." So you don't need grand declarations. A single calm sentence sent from a grounded energy can say so much more than paragraphs written from pain, or expectations, or you did this, or I did. None of that. That's the art of emotional precision. That's the language of quiet confidence. So what should you text when you miss them but don't want to chase? I hope this video has helped you decipher what vibe you want to emit. And with that, I always recommend something honest, brief, and balanced. Something like that feels right for you. It's hard for me to be able to just dictate something generically because I don't know how you communicate it. But something that feels like you, but the healed, peaceful version of you, not the same one that was at the other side of the breakup. Never about losing composure. You need to remind yourself that you have to present yourself attractive as you were initially, but now is the best version of yourself after undergoing a transformation. Because what we need to remember is we attracted them once, we can attract them again, but we can't attract them with the same personality that led to the breakup. So thank you once again for joining me today. As always, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really is the best way to be able to have access to more tips on personal growth, on mending broken relationships, and everything in between. Until next time, I'm Coach Abby.